Hello friends, this is Bess again with Made to Create, and I'm doing something a little different with from the fifth video on. The first four videos I had a friend of mine was able to help film me, but we are on Sunday and we have a heat index warning and we can't come inside together because of COVID-19. So I am going to be trying to do this filming myself only. It'll just be me doing this. So here we are. We're going to be doing, the fifth lesson is atmospheric perspective. And this is a beautiful lesson to learn with watercolor because we're going to lay down 5 layers of the same color of watercolor to build a feeling of distance in our painting. And the cool thing about atmospheric perspective is things that are closer to you are brighter colors and denser colors, and objects that are further away, like a mountain range, appear lighter. But what is really the powerful thing is that it's the water molecules that are in the air that create that filter that makes the colors less brilliant. And who discovered this was Leonardo da Vinci. He named it. He scientifically wondered about what was in the atmosphere changing the color of our objects farther away. Now, what is interesting is that when you go to the Southwest, where there's hardly any water molecules, mountain ranges appear much brighter, and that's why the colors out west are so vivid, because there's not as much moisture in the air. Now I'm going to flip and make it so you can see the page we're going to work on. And before I start, I want to show you a magazine that just came, and it's Asheville, North Carolina. And you can see here, right there, there's the closest piece, the second mountain, the third mountain, and all the way to 7 mountains back, the change in the color because of atmospheric perspective. And our goal for this lesson will be doing 2 different paintings. The first painting we will do will be atmospheric perspective using only one color. You might even want to snap a photo of this yourself. If you're looking on YouTube, you might be able to take a picture here. The second piece we will do is atmospheric perspective using 2 colors. I'll come back to this piece again, but for now, this is the one we're going to work on. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to take your pencil and you're going to draw 5 ranges of mountains. The closest one, and you might do this a little bit, that first line for me was a little bit dark. Second one, the third one, and the fourth one. I meant to say 4 because we're going to paint 5 washes. Okay, now the first wash we're going to do is going to be completely as transparent and as pale as we can make it. So I'm now adding so much water to my paint, and I want to really spread it around on this piece of paper. I hope you can see this clearly. I'm going to be checking this to see how this is my first one of me doing the whole shebang here. This might work though. Okay, and I'm spreading it. I'm even adding water directly from my clean water to the paper, and I'm getting a little more of the the watercolor has been mixed with hardly any watercolor pigment and a whole lot of water. So I want you to see it's almost like glass. It's so transparent. That is the first layer, and it's the sky, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the paper, okay? Now, a little trick you can do. This is a little art trick. You can take a balled up piece of paper towel, and you can go up into your sky and lift a little bit of the paint off, and it will give you a cloud-like effect. Isn't that just wonderful? So I wanted that in my sky. Now, I'm going to put that over, and I have a piece ready that's dry, because here's the deal. You have to let it dry in between these washes. So you might try working on 2 at the same time. Okay, it might really work that way. But now I've got a dry piece of paper. It has the first wash on it. you think about, what do you think we're going to do next? I bet you can guess it. We're going to go from the mountain here in the back with the second layer of color, and we are going to take that entire, it's darker than that, but it's still very transparent, all the way down to the bottom of the page. Because what we're doing, painting blue on top of blue, is making a more intense color. And it's really called glazing. When you paint, even if it's the same color paint over another paint, you are adding that. See this, now we have this beautiful color of blue, we have this beautiful color of blue. Now I am going to let that dry before I will add the next color of blue. I want you to see, I've gone from the mountain to the top, and yes, I have paintings ready so that we can just do this. So here is the first step, second step. Now I'm going to do the third step. I'm going to mix up some more, but this time a little bit darker, but I don't have to worry too much about darkness because I am not going to paint that top mountain at all. I am not going to paint the one that's the furthest away. I'm moving into the third furthest away mountain, and I'm going to paint very carefully. Now, there were a few of you, like Dave, asked me specifically about landscaping, and Dave, really, for Brown County painting and the mountains and the hills there, this was something you would do, and then glaze trees on top of it close up. Could be a fantastic painting, maybe even silhouettes of trees after you finish the whole thing. So now you can see we are moving down this paper rapidly because I'm really putting a wash on it. A even wash from the second furthest mountain all the way down. And you can see it's starting to happen. The illusion of distance is starting to happen. Okay, now I painted some ones ahead. So there's glaze, wash 1, wash 2 over wash 1 and down, and wash 3 over wash 2 and 1 and down. And now they're not quite the same painting because I had to prepare them. And I didn't want you to wait. I had to let these dry. So you have to let them dry in between doing this painting. So don't forget that part. Now I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to start with the second closest mountain range. This needs to be a little bit darker now. That's too light. I'm going to do the second closest mountain range. Right like this. And I think it needs to be a little bit darker. So let me add a little more, a pigment of blue as I'm mixing over here in my tray. I just added more blue. A little more blue. Okay, that's better. So it's this all the way down to the bottom of the page. So I am glazing. And now I just realized something. Y'all gonna laugh. But did you know me? I thought I had my next one ready to dry and go, but this is gonna have to dry a little bit with me chatting with you. So I'm gonna do a little bit of work there, and I'm gonna fan it a little bit. That sometimes helps, and that's another reason why you might want to use a hairdryer. You could be air drying this right now, and let me show you what we're heading towards. This is going to be the final piece, and you can see right there the glaze all the way down, the wash all the way down, the glaze down to here, then the glaze down to here, then the glaze down to here, and now comes our final color. And you know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna be good for you to see. I'm not going to let it dry, and let's see what it looks like. Here is my final mountain. The darkest of, I don't go back over the other ones because I want to keep that atmospheric perspective color. Well, it's working okay. I would rather have had it dry. Now, you all may know I just got this suggestion to make these videos last Wednesday. So I wrote out all the lessons, got the materials together, and it's a little bit of a time crunch here. And that is not for you to worry about. That's for me to worry about. But I just want you to know if sometime you think, oh, she's kind of rushed that a little bit. Yeah, here's what I'm gonna do with this one. I'm going to say to you, you've got the idea of the atmospheric perspective. I want you to challenge yourself now. I'm not going to demonstrate this. To do a second atmospheric perspective using only 2 colors. So in this one I used purple, and I gotta admit I cheated a little bit and added a little blue there, so actually I've used 3. But when I was doing the sky, before it completely dried, I added just a line of orange to the wet paper and a line of orange here to give it a kind of a sunset feeling. I'd really like you to try that too. For beginners, this will give you a feeling of mastery. For the people that have got experience, this is a beautiful way to learn to paint a landscape of mountains. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next lesson. Whoops. Made to Create. See you then.